I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Don't worry, y'all won't have to listen to me sing for 25 days. I promise you. Hey y'all, welcome to Vlogmas 2020. Today I am here to do the first day of Vlogmas. If you didn't know, I feel like I've put it all over social media at this point, so I don't know how you may not know. But I am doing Vlogmas in a different way. And this year, I am actually doing everything based off of holiday songs. So I'm kind of running with this theme here where every day, each video is going to be based off of a holiday song that I particularly enjoy. What's going to be cool about this is that I'm going to tell you a little bit about the holiday song. I'm going to tell you about some books that maybe relate to the theme. I'll tell you why I chose the song, why I chose the theme to align with the song, and what better way to start Vlogmas than with Mariah Carey's #1 single, All I Want for Christmas. So clearly with this song, I thought All I Want for Christmas, it could have gone two ways. It could have gone All I Want for Christmas in terms of books, but then I thought All I Want for Christmas in terms of like you, like loving somebody. So as you can see by the title of this video, I decided to go with my top 10 romances that I love of all time. Granted, forewarning you, I am new to reading romance. I just started reading romance heavily in about 2019, so I've only been at this for 2 years now, so don't quote me, and I'm not the end-all be-all when it comes to romance. There are a lot of people in our community that read lots more romance than I do, but these are some of my favorite romances, and I'll explain why they are. But before we get started, I wanted to tell you a little bit of fun facts about Mariah Carey's song All I Want for Christmas Is You. So of course, as everyone knows, All I Want for Christmas Is You is by Mariah Carey. It was released in 1994 and it is her 4th studio album, and this song was featured on her first holiday album. So this album is her 4th studio but first holiday album. It is the first holiday ringtone to be certified double platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America, which I think is phenomenal. And of course, as we all know, All I Want for Christmas Is You is a song that appears to hit the charts every single year around November and December. And the song remains Carey's biggest international success. So this song is a big deal all over the world, so not just here in the United States. It's one that people from all over the globe are familiar with. Okay y'all, so let's go ahead and jump into the romances. So the first romance that I have on this list is Everything I Desire, and this one was written by Beloved. This was my first book that I had ever read by Beloved, and I completely enjoyed it. It is a romance that focuses on 2 characters by the name of Arabella and Denzel, and Arabella is a serial dater, so she hops from one relationship to the next, and after her final breakup, I think it's her friends and her sisters who kind of charge her with not dating someone for like 90 days. And I think what I loved about this is not only like the chemistry that we see between Denzel and Arabella when they meet with each other and they kind of figure out where they want to be in terms of their relationship. I related to her so much, and learning the importance of taking time for yourself, especially in between relationships, and learning about yourself. I think that it's great to be in a partnership with someone, but I think too that we as a society don't put enough emphasis on the period in which we are single and enjoying that period, because it's a time in which we're able to learn more about ourselves and more about what our goals, ambitions should look like in the future, or maybe what we want our next relationship to look like, what we can improve on in ourselves before we step into another committed relationship. And I just really related to this on a character level, and I thought that some of it wasn't necessarily realistic. There were some financial transactions I was like, that's not real, it's not realistic, but their romance and Arabella's character development was very much so that something that I closely related to. I actually have another beloved book on this list, and this is one that I ended up reading this year that I have completely raved about, and that is Fans Only. And this one focuses on the characters of Merrick and Aries, and they are two close friends who are in this conversation about starting a fans only account in which they would perform sexual acts with each other, and they would do it anonymously, and they would get finances or get money from it to finance different things that they want to do. Merrick is looking to open up his own recording studio, and Aries wants to work with this particular fashion designer, and it costs a lot of money in order to intern with this individual and actually get like courses and stuff with them. So of course they make this agreement to do the fans only account. They make this agreement that they are not going to catch feelings for each other, but of course inevitably that happens. They've been friends for such a long time, and I think what I loved about it is that Merrick, regardless of what they agreed upon in terms of no relationship, he didn't let that stop him from making her feel comfortable and making sure that she was okay with everything that was going on. And he treated her like the queen that she was, and I really appreciated that. And of course, you know, they do get their HEA, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book. I loved it, and Beloved is just a great author in general, but this is probably going to end up being one of my favorite of hers. The next one that I read is by the author Shea Violet, and it is Rugged, and this is a interracial romance. Shea Violet is a Black author that writes a lot of interracial romance, and I think this is the second or third book of hers that I had read. And I like this one because it takes place in the wilderness, and it is about a character by the name of Rosandra who takes some time away from teaching to go to the wilderness to learn more about her heritage and her great-grandmother who had just recently passed, which touched me in a lot of ways when I read this book, because my great-grandmother passed in 2018. It was just more like my grandmother. I mean, she helped raise me, so I definitely felt it in that sense. And she goes up to this cabin just to learn more about her family, and that's when she meets Olin, who actually was a acquaintance of her great-grandmother, and they get to know each other. Of course, they fall in love, and it was just nice. And I think it was because of the setting that it was this romance that took place away from everything and everyone else. I think in a lot of romances that I've read so far, everything takes place during the hustle and bustle of everyday life, which is fine because that's reality. But it was nice to feel the peace and tranquility of this atmosphere that Shea Violet had created, and these two characters are falling in love in such a beautiful, peaceful environment, and I loved it. I just absolutely love this one. So if you're looking for a wilderness romance, I think that's a good one to check out. The next one that I have is Salt and Saladales, and this is by Janet Walden West, and this is kind of a foodie romance. It is about a chef by the name of Will who is trying to get his life together and is having a difficult time kind of managing not only running a kitchen but also his social media presence, or just his presence in public. And that's when Brett comes along, and she's the person that is almost like an image consultant, like social media presence, how you carry yourself in public. And of course they have a romance, but this is the first time when I actually felt like I had a book boyfriend, because Will was a huge cinnamon roll. He was so sweet and endearing, and Brett went through a lot of issues, and Will's patience was amazing, because even when I was reading the book, I was like, bro, just leave her alone. Like, she's not getting it, she's not there. But he was completely and totally patient with her, and he really just, I think, wanted to show compassion in a way that was just so beautifully done. I loved the representation in the book. I just love that there was food involved, here for the foodie, And I like the relationship that the two of them took, and that they really did work together, and they really did learn how to compromise with one another. And this one was an unexpected one because I actually read this as an arc and did a review because the author's, I think, editor or somebody had reached out to me to read it, and I just said yes, and it was well worth the read. The next one that I have on this list is Training My Heart to Love You by Monica Walters, and this is one that I read because the cover, one, I had not read a plus size romance prior to this book, so when I saw the cover I was like, plus size model, and then I read the description, it was like plus size character. I was like, please let this be done right, and it was done so well. We are dealing with a character who is very confident in herself, just self-assured about her body in a way that I had not seen before in any book. And being a plus size woman, reading about another plus size woman who was in just trying to just navigate life was great. And she had this romance with Zason that I enjoyed. And when the question about weight and image came up, it was a conversation about maintaining health and not like, I need to lose weight because the only way that I will be pretty is if I'm tiny. It wasn't like that. And I love that. It was, for me, I really enjoyed that representation, and it was just a beautiful romance. There was this conversation about how our experiences impact those who we are responsible for raising or looking after. And Monica and her mom had a very, very toxic relationship, and there's an exploration of why the relationship was the way it was, and it made so much sense. And there was just a lot of conversation around that, and I really did appreciate that, especially because I think sometimes in Black families we're known to kind of sweep things under the rug and avoid topics. Avoidance is a huge thing, and I like that Monica Walters was like, no, we need to stop doing this. Avoidance is not the way to handle situations. So I did enjoy that one. The next one that I have is not really just a book, it's actually a series, and it is the Naughty Princess series by Tara Civic. And this is actually a series that was enjoyable to me because it's a reimagining of Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, and The Little Mermaid. And it's about these three women who live in this town who are all going through some form of either being single, going through a breakup, or divorce. And they are not what you expect them to be in terms of Disney characters. They are working together to run a strip club because they need money. And it is hilarious. And I think what added to the appeal of this books for me were the audiobooks. I like binged the trilogy, which for me is a rarity. I don't binge series like that. And I binged all three books back to back to back. And that's how I knew it was a true testament to me really enjoying it, because I never do that. So if you're looking for kind of like more Disney adaptation stuff, because I know everybody's talking about Desperate Measures, which is the first book in the Wicked Villain series by Katie Robert, which is a reimagining of Aladdin. If you're looking for something that's not as dark as that, I definitely would recommend the Naughty Princess Club series. Next on this list, I have Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I read this one in 2019. I read it again this year in 2020 and loved it. I love it. I think that I realized how much I love slow burn romance when I read Birthday Girl. Birthday Girl is over 400 pages, and it takes a good minute before you get to any scenes that are like hot whatsoever. There's a lot of tension. It's a lot of sexual tension between the two main characters, Pike and Jordan, and we don't really get much of that until later on in the book. And that's when I realized, like, that's the type of romance that I really enjoy. And it is about, like I said, the two characters by the name of Pike and Jordan. Jordan is dating this guy, and they don't have a good relationship. He's kind of not really fulfilling his end of the bargain with certain things, and she ends up having to celebrate her birthday pretty much by herself because he's not there to pick her up. She goes to a movie, and then she meets this guy, and they have this instantaneous attraction, good conversation, great chemistry. He offers her a ride home. Come to find out, well, he doesn't. They're walking out together, and she gets a call from her boyfriend saying that he's in jail. and then Pike overhears, and then he's asked the name again, and Jordan says yes, and he's like, that's my son. So it's a romance where she falls in love with her boyfriend's dad. So yeah, it's good though. I really enjoyed it. Next on my list, I have Choices by Sky. This was my first introduction into reading LGBTQIA plus romance. I read this one a while ago, probably in like 2014 or 2015, and this is about 4 characters by the name of Lena, Denise, Freedom, and Carmen. And 3 of the characters, Denise, Freedom, and Carmen, identify as either bisexual or lesbian, and Lena doesn't. Lena is engaged to one of the all-star like basketball players at their school, which is Freedom University, and it really just chronicles her experiences of going to the school and how they're like very tight-knit and close to each other, and how they look after each other, they hold each other accountable. But there is a romance that is in the making somewhere in here, and I won't say what because it is a big part of the plot, but I really enjoyed it. I wish I would have continued with the series because it's been a while since I read that book, but I think it's 3 or 4 books in the series and I need to pick up the rest of them. But this was like one of my first forays into urban books, and then also my first foray into LGBTQIA plus romance, so loved it. Next, I have Let Me Love You, which is one that I read this year by Alexandria House, and this is the first book in the McLean Brothers series. This is about Everett and Joe, and Joe is a single mom just trying to make it in this world, and then she meets Everett, who is also known as Big South, the rapper. I need an Everett. I need an Everett. I need an Everett. I need an Everett. I need an Everett in my life. It is a thing that must happen because Everett is everything. So of course they meet. Everett is into her. He wants to date her. He wants to be with her, but there's some adjustments because Joe is not used to being a part of that celebrity world, and Everett really has to get her used to it. But he loves her, he cares about her, and oh, they're so great. I just love this book. I ate this book up, and I just, every time I think about it, I just think about Everett, and I'm like, oh gosh, I just need it. Like, look at that cover, y'all. Look at the cover. Look at the cover. Look at the cover. But it's just great. I loved it. Their chemistry was amazing. Everett is so attentive, so caring, and they have their ups and downs. I mean, they had their downs because there's some stuff that's revealed and it's like, oh, boop. But they work through it. They make things work, and their communication is great. I think Everett stepping in and being a father figure to Joe's daughter, it was great. I loved it. Five stars. I love that book so much. Need to read the rest of the series. And the last one on this list is literally one that I just talked about. As a matter of fact, when this goes up, I would have just talked about this in the video before this one in my wrap up, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But it is A Tale of Two Cities. It's a Thanksgiving novella written by Alexandra Warren, which is a part of this novella collection that she has that takes place in this world of characters that are all interconnected in some way, some form. But I think the characters in this book are not really in the other books, so you can read these independently of them. They're just characters in the books that make appearances from other series. But I loved this one. It's Aspen and Warren. Aspen is this big time like movie slash TV show star, and Orlando is working as a barber in the town where she was born and raised. And when she comes home, like, they instantaneously hit it off, and their chemistry, it was just their chemistry was done very well. I really felt this connection between the two of them, even though it was a novella. I think that it was just super well done, and it definitely made me want to pick up the rest of the novellas in this collection. If you have not read anything by Alexandra Warren, I definitely would recommend possibly starting with this novella collection and kind of getting a feel for her writing and character development, because it's amazing. Alright y'all, so that's it. Those are 10 romances that are my favorites of all time so far. I'm sure in the years coming when I read more romances, I'm sure even with the romances that I read this month in December, that's probably going to change. But right now, those are some of my favorites. Let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite romances are. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking for ways to support my channel, be down in the description box. Looking for ways to follow me on social media, also be down in the description box. And guess what? I won't say I'll be back with another video soon because I'll be back with another video tomorrow. Happy Vlogmas!